Wonderful. Great. So wonderful to have you all here for our next iteration of the DueDash Investor Lounge. Before we get into the session, of course, I give it over to our host and let her introduce our guest. I want to give you some quick insight, just who is DueDash? Some of you, of course, know us. For those who are new, DueDash is an investor relations platform. We were created to solve the biggest problem that is faced in the VC ecosystem. The fact that there's a lot of mismatch and data discrepancy, and it doesn't come to successful relationships and thus successful investments. DueDash is a platform that streamlines the entire exchange, communication, and data in one platform, making it simple for both you as a founder and an investor to exchange, make the right investment decisions, be able to convince investors about your company, but also build further relationships and thus creating value for both sides. We have been already around for some time and onboarded various startups, investors, and helped them through this process and continue to further build out our platform and help you in this engagement. If you're new to DueDash, if you're not on a platform yet, create a profile. You can just go here on DueDash.com and you can get started with the process. And of course, DueDash, we are supported by a lot of amazing partners, might it be VC funds, service providers, accelerators, incubators, and so on. So these also enable us to provide even further value to all of you out here. I will keep it short as an introduction, but I'm happy to kind of talk to you. Might you be a founder looking for funding? You want to manage existing investors? You're an investor looking for deal flow? You want to manage your portfolio? Or for other reasons, chat with me. I will be here during the session in the chat. So just drop me a private message and happy to also send you a link to discuss further, or otherwise make sure to visit DueDash.com. And with that, let me stop right here and put up, of course, our host and speaker. Now, off to you, Pooh.
Thank you, Michael. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. I know you guys are joining us from across the world. Some of the names I see in the chat, I know these people. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, I am the founder and CEO of DueDash. My background is I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've built multi-million-dollar companies, invested privately in many private companies for over 15 years. Also experienced in M&A, so basically the entire shebang. And today I'm excited to welcome our guest, Ruchika Sikri. Ruchika is a general partner at Wisdom Ventures. It's an early stage VC fund based in San Francisco. So Wisdom strives to enable a better future fueled by mindfulness and well-being, which basically focuses on human connection. To date, they have invested in 15 plus startups across several verticals, ranging from leading AI companies to many others in the field of mental health, workplace well-being, and psychotropics. I hope that I pronounced that correctly. She has a strong background in working in tech industry across functions and leadership. So Ruchika, a warm welcome to you. I'd like you to start by sharing a little bit about your journey and what led you to become a general partner at Wisdom Ventures. And also, I would like you to kind of tell us a little bit how Wisdom differentiates itself in the VC landscape, particularly with its focus on mindfulness, well-being, and human connection.
Thank you so much, Parul. It's such a delight to be on your platform. I know we just connected a month ago, and here we are kind of sharing our views together. It's so nice to be in presence of everyone. Thank you for joining us today. As Parul said, I'm Ruchika. I was born and brought up in India, but I moved to US in 1999 and have always been in technology sector, started my career at Microsoft, then came to US and worked at Cisco for a while, and then for a very long time at Google, when Google was a baby company, and then I left in 2021. So I kind of saw the growth from, I wouldn't say Google was a startup when I joined in 2006, but it was pretty much functioning like a startup. We had good amount of people, 3,000, 4,000 people over there. And just, being in the heart of Silicon Valley has just been inspiring to see how technology has been shaping our life and changing our life, mostly for good, but also has created some of the challenges that, we as humanity have been grappling with. And that was basically my motivation to jump into Wisdom Ventures as a general partner. When I left in 2021 at Google, right before that at Google, I was focusing on cultivating and curating internal programs on employee well-being, mindfulness, and compassion. And we recognized those were really important values to hold within a big company. We were 170,000 people, because we can come from any walk of life, be very talented, A player, great salespeople, awesome engineers. But if our health and well-being is being compromised, we don't show up fully to our work and to our family and our communities all around. And so Wisdom Ventures was basically created by 6 of us. We're 6 general partners on the firm, and I'm one of the founding partners. And the intention behind the fund was to create a VC unit that can invest in companies that are prioritizing human health, well-being, flourishing, rather than technologies that can continue decimating our life. We know that mental health and health challenges have been on a rise, and technology has also stepped up to really support us with some of those challenges. But with worldwide higher numbers of depression, anxiety, other mental health disorders, 1 in 5 people in the United States suffer and struggle with a mental health issue. WHO mentioned that 70% of the people who are in high crisis zone on mental health don't get immediate help or don't know where to go, either because of the insurance hoops that they need to jump through, or healthcare, or even just taboos in their own society. So that was the inspiration for us to create a company, and we've invested, Parul, now in 30 companies actually.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's been quite a journey, close to 30 companies, and they're bringing well-being, mental health resources to mothers, to children at school, to students in colleges, and particular populations where mental health is still considered a big taboo to seek help on. And of course, we're also pouring in other areas, as you mentioned, and I'm happy to double click on those as we go along.
Yeah, I think I'm very curious about the disparate fields that you are investing in. On one side, it's AI, and on the other side, of course, the main thesis is mental health and workplace well-being. So I just want to get your take and Wisdom Ventures' take on how these fields intersect and influence each other in future. If you could just explain that a little.
Definitely. So I would actually just go back one step to share like why we came about as a fund once again. We've been, one of my co-founder of Wisdom Ventures, Soren Gortheimer, has been hosting this conference in San Francisco called Wisdom 2.0. And that conference brings like the top technologists in Silicon Valley worldwide, and also some really great thought leaders and spiritual leaders to come and have a conversation on the impact of technology on humanity, be it good or be it bad. So there's like a really open stage conversation happening on that. And then this movie came out around Social Dilemma, which a lot of us may have watched, where we learned like how technology can be detrimental to our mental health by deploying some algorithms where we are like doom scrolling on our phones, on apps, and we can't stay disconnected. It gives us that dopamine hit that we are picking up our phone like hundreds of times during the day. I'm guilty of it like every day, but I still have the consciousness to say, charge your phone outside your room, don't keep it next to the bed. But I had to cultivate those habits, and working in technology industry wasn't really helping. And most of us are interfacing with technology. So we formed Wisdom Ventures to then direct technology to be supportive of people. So how do we help a student sitting in a dorm room in a college, depressed, contemplating self-harm, don't have the ability to walk 3 blocks to see a psychotherapist, or don't even know that resource available, but they have their phone in their hand, and they can call a counselor to talk to them right away in that moment. So that was like our orientation on like, how do we channel technology for good in the world? And at the same time, like when we started investing, this this rise of AI just became so prevalent. And, it's not hidden from any of us. Like AI can be revolutionary and great. Like I was watching a video launched yesterday from OpenAI team on GPT-4 and having this fluent conversation with AI as if it's a friend sitting in a room. So there are some great benefits of like AI can help students do homework better, learn, improve our productivity, improve our lives in many ways. Healthcare interventions through AI are really kind of rising right now. But we're all very afraid of it as well, right? Like, where will AI lead us to? How it may take over and cause a lot of harm as well. So that was our intention, to kind of really enter and support newer AI, bigger companies, to say, if we can be a resource to them when, those decisions come where like it's profits over, good for humanity. So we've also like really curated our portfolio on AI with very intentional founders who have been doing the inner work, have been very present with both aspects of AI, the good and the bad, and have been very vocal and talking about it openly, and hopefully also continuing to put measures in their companies that can just accelerate the good, and also to a great limit, like control the worst things that can happen as well. And beyond that, like as humanity, we're embracing AI. We all have equal responsibility as well. So I kind of look at Wisdom Ventures as like it's kind of a place where we are trying to direct technology into good direction, where it's helpful and supportive. But we're also kind of entering the spaces where we know there is a lot of potential for good, but also harm that can be created, and learning like what is our role in it. And I think it's not a Wisdom Ventures responsibility. It's a responsibility for all of us, like who are investing in companies or founding companies in this space as well, to be deeply thinking about it and taking really proper measures to manage it effectively.
Nice. So in the current market landscape where AI is disrupting sustainable business models, assessing startups has become even more crucial. So at DueDash, we have our methodology called a 5T model, with the emphasis on team, timing, traction, technology, TAM, market opportunity. Then we kind of deeper dive into the equity and the financials and stuff. I'm curious to know about your perspectives. What specific attributes do you look for in a founding team, especially in the context of your investment focus on mindfulness and well-being? How do you assess a founder's commitment to fostering human connection within the company culture and general, like the business itself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've done a lot of deep thinking around it. So let me see if I can kind of do justice in a few words to share with you all. I think also related to the topic of our conversation today, Parul, I know we went back and forth a little bit, and compassionate innovation has been at the heart of like everything that I've been kind of doing in my life, like especially like after leaving Google, when I'm entering this entrepreneurial space. And my intention is that that compassionate innovation movement can revolutionize how we look at returns in a different way. And then I'll come back to like founders, because they are at the crux of figuring out how their companies maximize returns. The traditional definition of returns on investment is, well, I put in $100,000, how much money that I can make. And I think that should hold. There is a value to economic gains that any industry or company can create. And it meets a lot of need for a company to be profitable, the shareholder value, all the way to the employees who get paid. And in the Maslow's hierarchy of things, we know that we all need wealth as energy to like survive and thrive in life. But my proposition, the way I've been kind of thinking about it, is that what else is included in maximizing returns? We know that our fellow humans and us, many of us might be struggling. I've struggled many times with my own mental health issues, working on it for decades now. For 20 years, I've been practicing meditation, yoga, and I've gone to therapists, to get some help every now and then when life became really hard. But at the same time, the daily news that's kind of like coming in front of us, the challenges of creating a company, forming a company, they're real, and we have just so much capacity, and we need to lean into these initiatives. So when I talk about maximizing returns, the maximizing return should include the value of your product and service that is being created for humanity. It should elevate our life rather than decimate our life. It should not make us depressed and anxious. It should make us more connected to each other and ourselves. So that's another component that I would like to add to the equation as we think about maximizing returns. The third component is it's not a surprise to any of us how much of an impact our innovation, industrialization, technology has had, and our own initiatives has had on our planet. Like global warming is real, challenges, the pollution is on the rise, the temperatures are varying to a great degree. The rains and all of those things are just unprecedented, and droughts. So what is our duty and responsibility when we say maximize returns towards our planet? So of course, make money on your businesses. We all want to do that, but also see the impact of your product and service on your fellow humans. And if you can't see it, you can also see it, it also affects you and your own family and friends and community as well, right? We now have so many of technology leaders raising the alarm on how they realized social media was impacting their own sons and daughters and children. And these are the technologies created by them, and without their awareness and, even if awareness, but just really taking the other equations, pieces of the equations out, and also how does it impact our planet? Now, coming back to the founders, what we look for in founders is their own self-awareness. Have they been doing their own personal growth work? We really seek out people who've kind of found meaning and purpose in something that's beyond just creating a business and launching a product and making gains out of it. And they take this personal responsibility to say, I'm going to launch this product, but also really assess the impact of it on the other two dimensions, on my community of fellow humans, and what's the impact of it on our planet. And then the nature and quality of the business is the second piece that we look into when we make investments. That is this going to advance human flourishing? Is it going to help our planet? Is it going to create a company where there's a great work culture? People are recognized, appreciated for their efforts, and are also not burning out, so our company founders creating good company culture. And then finally, it is returns on investment. What we're doing is we're not saying venture firms should become nonprofits and foundations to invest in companies. We want these companies to thrive. We want returns on investment, 2x, 10x, 20x returns. But can we do that while we're also making a difference in people's life, a positive difference rather than negatively impacting our life? So those are some of the things that we have been kind of really focusing on. To summarize, is the founder themselves, the nature and the quality of the business, and also the returns on investment. Have they done the homework on how they're going to take the product to market? How are they going to sell it? What is their strategy for growth in the next 2 to 5 years? Those are all of the elements we look into.
So what are the key metrics or indicators or evidences that are important for you to track in this regard?
Yeah, this is such a great question. And, we've been investing for 1 year now, so we have a good portfolio, and we're just starting to put some thought into creating KPIs. We searched the web, right? There is really no VC KPIs that have been created to assess how are the founders creating the company culture? What does future of work look like? What is there? I mean, of course, sustainability has been a big lift that most companies have taken, but very early stage companies that we invest in don't have time and resources to do that. So we're really looking into, how are founders keeping to the original intention of the companies that they have formed? How are they managing their teams and companies? So it's helping their employees flourish and thrive rather than burn out. These are some of the components we're considering. We haven't put something out, but once we do, we are going to launch it to the world so that everyone can use those metrics as well. And the products and services, like, is that helping the users thrive, or is it taking away from their lives? And if it's a product that affects, like, how our planet thrives or survives, is also some of the things that we will be thinking about. But mostly we've been investing in SaaS and software technology companies mostly.
Okay. So on DueDash, startup founders can create structured company profile. They get a secure data room right from sharing their one-page or pitch deck. So basically can manage their entire workflow there. And from there, if it is a good fit, they can build an investor engagement. And they can share monthly or quarterly investor updates, whatever cadence they decide. And it's a complete ecosystem. And investors can use the system also from all aspects, right? From deal flow, due diligence, scoring, filtering, portfolio management. So it's all in one single place, right? From also sharing the portfolio. How do you foresee sourcing deals and conducting due diligence in evolving tight-knit VC network where you're sitting especially, and the prevalent practices of investing within familiar circles, especially in the light of increasing globalization of investments?
Mm-hmm. We have, when we started the fund, we opened up channels for people to submit an application to receive funding from us. And that was great, but we were also surprised by the unsurmountable amount of interest we were receiving. And interest kind of really varied from people who have a great idea, very solid intention to create something that is going to be very helpful to the world, to making $2 million in revenue ARR already. So we've been kind of really assessing how to keep this open field open, and bring in deals from that open field, because most of our partners have large communities. Like Soren has Wisdom 2.0 and thousands of followers. People come and attend that conference every year. Our other co-founder, Diego Perez, whose pen name is Young Pueblo, has 4 million followers on social media, and he's a writer of 4 New York Times bestseller. So we're very visible in minds of people who want to innovate and create great products. Jack Cornfield, he's a Buddhist teacher and has done so much teaching, and coaches great leaders in the all around the world as well. But in terms of the close-knit, we have been establishing a close-knit community of like-minded, like-hearted VCs, and we've been doing active deal flow share with them. That's another source, and proving to be an effective source of deals. And there is no dearth of it, Parul, is what I can say. There's just a lot of great deals coming in. But we're kind of halfway done with our investments now, and we have a few more to make. And we're just starting to put our different pieces together to launch our bigger fund. Starting to fundraise sometime in this fall. So I think sky is the limit, and we are very grateful to be surrounded by great VCs, and also a great community that is bringing more grassroots deals to us as well. And also being able to co-invest with some really big names has been an incredible learning along the path as well.
So in the light of current emphasis on resilience amidst market resets, and the acknowledgement that enduring ventures are forged through challenges, what significance do you attribute to communication between the startups and investors, particularly during tumultuous periods? And how do you believe that consistent reporting fosters stronger partnerships and aids in effectively navigating crises?
I think it's so important. As you know, I'm also co-founding a company along with running the venture fund. And we do very traditional reporting right now, once a month, once in 6 weeks, update, and of course, timely updates on any major decision changes that we're making. But it sounds like you're doing some great work at DueDash that can enable founder and investor communication to be stronger, more timely, and effective. And I personally would love to learn more about it as a founder and also as a VC in our follow-up conversations. But I think it's really important. We as VC, like we worry, like when our founder hasn't sent us an update in 3 months, and then we knock on their door. I'm like, is everything okay? Do we need to like have a chat? Do you need any support, any help? And most of the cases, you know, they've just been like heads down, building their product, clearing the bugs, and doing prototyping and doing user testing. So it's all well intentioned. But, you know, when we do end up meeting with them, there is like always this little spark, like, oh, yeah, you can actually help me with this connection or things like that. You know, if we are clear and aware of where we don't want to micromanage, I don't think any VC wants to. But at the same point, like it's always a great resource to kind of have active communication between the two.
Awesome. So I'm going to go back a little bit on the current macroeconomic scenarios. So considering the persistent uncertainty and evolving landscape in the VC industry that we've particularly seen over the last 3 to 4 years, what is your outlook as a venture capital investor for 2024 and perhaps leading up to next 5 to 10 years?
Yeah, I think things. It's like every day there's a little bit of a shift that I'm observing personally. The pieces that we have put out there can sound like contradictory to making profits and returns and things like that. However, I'm also seeing, as the companies are being formed, the type of people who want to work for companies are also kind of like this woke generation is what I would call it. Like, they're really prioritizing employers who value well-being, compassion, clear communication, transparency. Some of those things, like Parul, I observed, like when I was at Google in early days, was just very open culture. You could go and talk to anybody anytime and resolve for things. And I think that is here to stay. Like, even as I'm kind of hiring people for our company, like I treat them as like co-owners at this early stage of company to develop with us. And I think those are some of the elements as VCs I also look for, like in founders, like how are they developing their team? Who are they bringing on board? What is the value proposition each team member brings in acceleration and also a thoughtful approach towards bringing. So, the two dimensions that I'm kind of always observing is the speed at which the founders are developing, but also the quality at which they're developing the product. So I feel that from that micro lens to the macro lens, it will serve the companies well when they have this like really balanced approach towards development and groundbreaking products that they are creating and sending out into the market. I would say, as we've been like, touching on it with AI, it is becoming an instrumental part of everybody's strategy, right? Like even at Ready, like we are very actively thinking about the good use of AI. How does it support our users to date better? Like Ready is a platform which is a home for relationship. We're evolving dating industry to be more authentic, honest, and grounded, and really steeped in interpersonal growth. So we're seeing a lot of people are getting attracted to business propositions like that. They want products that are valuing them, seeing them, respecting them, holding their dignity rather than things that can be mistreated in many ways. So I think like the compounding of returns that we want founders to make, VC firms to make, the values and the principles are going to play a lot more bigger roles as I kind of see the companies developing the future of our society and humanity in many ways.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. That's really something that we strive for at DueDash. That's the premise of it. It's a data-driven investor relations that helps building transparency through your, and they use data as your currency to build trust. Basically, that's what it is all about. Because there's going to be more and more digital engagements. So I'm going to ask you some quick, few quick questions, which you need to answer quickly with 1 or 2 sentences. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so what elements should a great 1-minute introduction contain when someone is pitching to an investor like yourself?
their personal story leading into why they're creating the startup today.
Okay. What are some of the latest trends and technologies that you are closely monitoring?
Health and AI, well-being and AI, future of work and AI. How is that supporting, us and people better?
Which sectors or industries do you anticipate will struggle?
It's hard to say right now. I think the world is kind of turning on its head. So I wouldn't make a call on it right now. But I think companies that are not actively thinking of integrating AI as part of their technology and future need to rethink that, is where I would leave it to.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on climate financing and ESG data reporting? You touched upon climate earlier on and, the environment and all that. So that's why I thought I'll ask you. What's your take on that?
It's a great personal area of interest to me. I attend conferences and meetings around it. It's not part of Wisdom Ventures thesis as yet, but we need it. We need it so much. I think there's it's a rapid fire. So I would kind of leave it at that, I would just hope that there is more investments and care given to that industry.
Awesome. Can you perhaps share one or any innovative idea that has not been explored yet?
Yeah, I think, where my mind is that AI is really helping us one-to-one, but, like how is AI kind of really helping us with relationality and human connection is an area that I often think about, and especially like in the field I am right now with Ready, creating a platform for people to connect with each other authentically and maintain their relationship, build good relationship. That's something that I'm really actively thinking about right now.
Very interesting. Share one memorable idea that has been pitched to you.
Oh, this is it's so grounded. But one of the first founder we met, we did office hours with people who were expressing interest in receiving funding from us. And this girl who was on wheelchair, she wanted to create a company which enables well-being for people who are disabled and have avenues available for them to go into a well-being center, yoga center, and have accessibility to access those resources. So that's always really present for me to say, innovators don't need to go to a high-tech university to gain a degree, but they are everywhere. They're all around us. And I'm so grateful people in all walks of life are thinking about those things.
That's really heartwarming. Who is your childhood inspiration?
Oh, my childhood inspiration. Mahatma Gandhi, I would say, was a big inspiration for me as I was growing up, and Mother Teresa. I've always been kind of a compassionati at heart and have held the space for people suffering and helping alleviate that suffering somehow.
What qualities do you value most in a professional relationship?
Clear communication, trust, and loyalty.
What drives you when you get up every morning?
My work. I'm so aligned with all the things and my children, I would say, I live and breathe for them. And also my work is very engaging. I'm very privileged to be working on something which is very meaningful and purposeful.
Great. What books are you currently reading?
Yes. I am reading a book called Journey Within. It has small snippets from one of the spiritual teachers. I'm also reading Mindfulness in Workspace, which I contributed to. I contributed a chapter to it. So that's like actively on my desk right now. But I have a big bookshelf and I keep going back to it every now and then.
Awesome. So what advice would you give to those contemplating investing or just starting their journey in venture capital? We do have people who, are aspiring angel investors or aspiring fund managers. So we get a lot of people like that. I know a few of them in the audience today. Is there any advice for them?
I think it's a great way of investing. I never looked into this field until I became a VC, and I thought that I could have been an angel investor early on. please go for it. But clarify like what you want to invest in, what areas and sectors you want to invest in as an angel investor. And if you are intending to become a VC, there are very good organizations that are available. I think DueDash might be offering something, but I attended a program at VC Labs here in Silicon Valley. And if you intend to create a fund for $2 million plus, you can join their program, and they have a very systematic approach towards raising a fund with a great community available too. So DueDash, VC Labs, like there's such great resources available for us to learn how to be a VC. I'd never been a VC before, but here I am, and I know the tricks of the trade to a certain degree now.
Awesome. If you were to give one piece of advice to younger Ruchika today, what would that be?
Believe in yourself. Don't doubt. Keep walking the path in life.
Awesome. So we're going to take some audience questions now, Ruchika. Just going to interplay them with some of my questions. So I think you mentioned about your application process. So they just want to know, like, what is your process and what do you look for in a pitch deck? What kind of content is relevant for your fund?
Yeah, I think the why needs to be very clear. The what needs to be very clear. And because that really helps us assess that does it fall under our thesis. We're also now paying very close attention to how of growth, how of product development, how of maintaining those KPIs on making a positive difference in the world. So those are some of the lenses that I use: the why, the what, and the how. And my inspiration is this book called Get Backed. Is a great book that people can kind of pick up as they're pitching, or even like reviewing pitch decks to see what to really look for when founders are pitching you.
Nice reference. Second question is there a difference between, I think what they want to basically ask you is, do you treat two different founders differently if somebody contacts you directly versus somebody in your network, kind of makes that introduction, arranges to meet? So is there a particular preference in which you go?
We have we get a lot of requests from the open field, as I mentioned to you. So if the idea is not big, the product is not fully developed, and the revenue targets are kind of like elusive, then we give feedback to the founder to bake it a little bit more and then come back to us, because at this stage of the fund investment, we're not doing no product, no and revenue, I guess, like we're tottering on it, but the product needs to be validated. And I think, so we have to really filter through a lot, where we keep active communications with all who are applying. Mm-hmm. From the warm introductions, if it's our close-knit like network of heart-aligned, mind-aligned VCs, like we do take a call. One of the stipulations that we're also putting in place now is that we've not led an investments. We always follow with our first fund at the very least. So it helps to get the warm introduction, because mostly those VCs have already invested or are leading the round. So it becomes easier for us to assess the deal. And that's the only reason I would say, we would also prioritize the founders. But it's kind of the same treatment. If you think of those founders who we are looking at through the warm deal introduction, they have a lead investor, they have a cap table building, they have a product in the market, they have a revenue target or active revenues coming in, which is the same lens we apply when people are coming in from the open field as well.
Mm-hmm. So what stage do you invest in, and what's your usual ticket size, and what are your investment criteria at that stage when you kind of go in as a co-investor?
We're mostly investing in seed now. We did a couple of pre-seed and of course like Series A. So it has been a little bit of a spectrum, but mostly it has been in the seed round. Our average check size is 100 to 250K. 250K is our sweet spot. And we know that doesn't get the full runway for the founder in these days. Yeah, that's why we co-invest, and we invest in deals particularly like seed 1 to 2, in some cases $5 million as well, and we put in a small check.
Mm-hmm. And is that just US focused where you invest? Is there any focus on the regions or geography? Like,
We're global. We have invested in companies in Asia, in Latin America, in Europe. So yeah, I would say a lot of them are in the United States, but we're not restricting ourselves just to the country.
Okay. So, I think we spoke a lot about AI, but is there any other evolving technological landscape that you kind of think should be looked into, or you are looking into, other than just purely AI and combination of AI into the areas of mental health and psychotropics where you are focused on?
Yeah, I think psychotropics is one of the areas we are looking into, mainly because it has a stronger lens from mental health. And there are certain companies who've done very deep research, like MAPS is one of them that we have invested in. We're not laying a very wide net on it, but really being very thoughtful on regulations that are coming along with those psychotropics hitting the market. We kind of do, we take a lot of care about FDA approvals in progress or very close. And also the distribution strategy needs to be through clinics and not open market and things like that, I would say. Also, in particular around the intersections of AI, I think AI is going to be just breathing it into everything. It's like, we have internet today. AI is going to be like part of that, right? So, but particular areas of focus is continues to be future of work, health, well-being, children and college students, mental health, and also bringing ease and productivity in people's lives are some of the areas that we will continue for. Education, technology, some of those areas are also kind of coming into light.
Gotcha. So are these I think what I kind of understood from the risk management standpoint, you're looking for distribution channels. So the business models would be predominantly B2B, B2B2C from that standpoint.
Yeah, I would say a lot of our companies are B2B right now, especially future of work, and mental health. I would say there are some that are B2C or B2B2C as well. So, and we're not also kind of really agnostic to it, but just seeing the pattern of the companies we have invested in, there are B2B, B2B2C, some of them, and B2B2C as well.
Okay. And when you invest globally, so, how do you manage the, certain legal barriers and stuff like that? The frame, if it kind of falls into the legal purview and stuff like that, how do you go about that due diligence? Is that something coming from a lead investor or something like that you kind of lean into?
Yeah, I think a lot of proper due diligence is done by the lead investors. We lean into that. But in terms of international investments, currently, like the ones that we have made, we haven't run into any legal issues. We also have a very strong legal team right next to us. So we have them review every deal paperwork and details, and then they guide us on whether there are any risks of investing in an international deal or not. So yeah, we have good resources available for us to do the due diligence on our side.
So you mentioned you're looking into ed tech and colleges and universities and also healthcare, so to speak. Are there certain specific verticals where you think, or certain domain areas or industries where you think this technology would be adopted faster than the others where you're kind of focusing on?
I think we found workplaces, universities, and now schools also opening up to it to a great degree, but also healthcare. One of the companies we've invested in called Seven Starling, and basically they're focused on providing mental health support to mothers, like mothers trying to conceive, mothers who've just had a baby, mothers going through teenage years of their children and not knowing how to navigate that. And they are working actually through the gynecologist and doctors network, for example. So and insurance is kind of really also another channel for our founders to scale their business as well. So those are our typical verticals that the founders eventually latch on to scale their businesses, is what we have observed.
Gotcha.
I mean, one of the companies we've invested in, it's called, they're developing sports communities. So pickleball is very popular in the United States right now. I don't know how it is in other countries.
It is catching up the fever across the world. Absolutely.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. So that's good to know. So, they are basically starting with creating communities where people in the neighborhood can come together and play pickleball, and they're going to advance it to other sports as well. So they work with like a lot of recreational departments in cities, for example, as well. So there's some of them are also kind of working directly with government sectors too.
Interesting. And do you invest via SAFE, or what are your usual typical instruments that you use?
Both safes and equity rounds as well. Like, so we've done both.
Okay, cool.
And convertible notes.
Okay.
I think one or two. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it depends on the company and based on the investment decision that has taken, and you kind of go with that.
100%. Yes.
Okay. So do you, what's your or Wisdom Ventures approach towards diversity and inclusion in its investment decisions?
It's huge. Okay. Yes. It's always been of prime importance to us as we founded the fund. And, our latest assessment on that is like, we're very well diversified. Like, I think, don't quote me on it yet because we're reassessing the numbers, but close to 70-80% of our founders are diverse,
Wow.
Women, people of color, ethnicity, and things like that. So very much, we're lucky to like have so many deals come in that, we are able to diversify our portfolio, but it's a very big focus for us.
But is it like a conscious decision when you kind of choose for making an investment based on your portfolio management construction, something like that? Is it like a conscious thing, or is it just like you're getting so much of deal flow and it just happened?
It's a conscious, it's one of like our important factors that, we are putting on the table to invest in diverse founders. And of course, like meeting that KPI very well as well.
Awesome. I think, I'm not sure if audience have any more questions. I would be happy to take some more questions. We have a few more minutes before we call it a wrap today. But other than that, I think it's been a great session. Got great insights. I think particularly in the field, of well-being and human connection, it's really great. And with our fund, the new fund, I'm sure we'll definitely collaborate on the healthcare and well-being. That's generic, broader sense. So I think definitely there will be areas to engage there as well with your fund. And thank you so much for making the time today, Ruchika. I know it's morning time for you, and jumping on this 1 hour session, so which I think we did time-wise pretty good. It's been fun talking to you. I know you're on DueDash, and founders can definitely reach out, and I know you'll be able to find some amazing startups, and looking forward to your engagement there. Those of you who joined today, I'm sure you liked it, and I would be really happy if you could share this out. And if you would like to get more information, anything that you missed out, please feel free to reach out to us so that we could incorporate that in the future sessions. I like to run another one with Ruchika sometime soon, so we would like to incorporate in the next follow-up session then. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining from wherever you dialed in today. Have a great day ahead, a great evening, and until next time, thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone, for having me. It's been a pleasure being here. Bye now.